Hello again, Social Studies class. Mr. Spade back here with part 2 of our reading about the Holocaust in Europe during World War II. We read in part 1 about how kind of the discrimination and persecution of the Jews kind of started in Germany and how that became very scary very quickly for Jews in Europe under Nazi control. And now we're going to read about what they're going to be calling the final solution and what ended up happening to Jews, as well as looking at some resistance that some of the Jewish people led during this time, and also looking at some charts about some of the numbers and statistics of the Holocaust, too. Hitler believed that his plan of conquest depended on the purity of the Aryan race. To protect racial purity, the Nazis had to eliminate other races, nationalities, or groups they viewed as inferior as subhumans. They included Roma, the Gypsies, Poles, meaning Polish people, Russians, homosexuals, the insane, the disabled, and the incurably ill. But the Nazis focused especially on the Jews. The killings began. As Nazi troops swept across Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union, the killings began. Units from the SS, Hitler's elite security force, moved from town to town to hunt down Jews. The SS and their collaborators rounded up men, women, children, and even babies and took them to isolated spots. They then shot their prisoners in pits that became the prisoners' graves. Jews in communities not reached by the killing squads were rounded up and taken to concentration camps or slave labor prisons. These camps were located mainly in Germany and Poland. Hitler hoped that the horrible conditions in the camps would speed the total elimination of the Jews. The prisoners worked 7 days a week as slaves for the SS or for the German businesses. Guards severely beat or killed their prisoners for not working fast enough. With meals of thin soup, a scrap of bread, and potato peelings, most prisoners lost 50 pounds in the first few months. Hunger was so intense, recalled one survivor, that if a bit of soup spilled over, prisoners would dig their spoons into the mud and stuff the mess in their mouth. The final stage. Hitler's war on the Jews turned toward the final solution in 1942. The Nazis built extermination camps equipped with huge gas chambers that could kill as many as 6,000 humans in a day. When prisoners arrived at Auschwitz, the largest of the extermination camps, they paraded before a committee of SS doctors. With a wave of the hand, these doctors separated the strong, mostly men, from the weak, mostly women, young children, the elderly, and the sick. Those labeled as weak would die that day. They were told to undress for a shower that led into a chamber with fake shower heads. We'll go back in a second, guys. After the doors were closed, cyanide gas or carbon dioxide poured from the shower heads or holes in the ceiling. All inside were killed in a matter of minutes. Later, the Nazis installed crematoriums or ovens to burn the bodies, the survivors. Some 6 million European Jews died in these death camps and in Nazi massacres. Fewer than 4 million survived. Some escaped the horrors of the death camps with help from non-Jewish people. These rescuers, at great risk to their own lives, hid Jews in their homes or helped them escape to neutral countries. Those who survived the camps were changed forever by what they had experienced. As Elie Wiesel, nearly 15 years old when he entered Auschwitz, noted, so this is a primary source, guys. Never shall I forget the little faces of the children, whose bodies I saw turned into wreaths of smoke beneath the silent blue sky. Never shall I forget those flames which consumed my faith forever. Never shall I forget these moments which murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to dust. Never. Okay, so we're going to go back and look at some of these other extra things that they included here. Okay, this is history in depth. So we have Ella Gardner and Rosa Roboda, and these are two Jewish women who led a resistance we're going to read about. Jewish resistance. Even in the extermination camps, Jews rose up and fought against the Nazis. at Treblinka in August of 1943, and at Sobibor in October of 1943, small groups of Jews revolted. They killed guards, stormed the camp armories, and stole guns and grenades, and then broke out. In both uprisings, about 300 prisoners escaped. Most were killed soon after. Of those who survived, many joined up with partisan groups and continued to fight until the end of the war. Late in 1944, prisoners at Auschwitz revolted too. Like the escapees at Treblinka and Sobibor, most were caught and killed. Young women like Ella Gardner and Rosa Roboda made the Auschwitz uprising possible. Gardner smuggled gunpowder into the camp from the munitions factory where she worked. Roboda helped organize resistance in the camp. Gardner and Roboda were executed on January 6, 1945. Less than a month later, Auschwitz was liberated. Liberated means that it was the people there were set free by the Allies during the war. We'll read about that next section. All right, now let's take a look at this chart here and see what we can get from it. You will be asked some questions about the chart on the quiz this week. So this is all about the Jews that were killed under Nazi rule. So you have to think from the first section that we read in this chapter that Hitler and the Nazis controlled not only Germany, they annexed Austria, they took control of Poland, Hungary, Romania, and they were at war with the Soviet Union. So this is places that they controlled at some point during World War II. Okay? So the country of Poland had the largest Jewish population at the start of the war. Over 3 million Jews lived there. But unfortunately, of those 3.3 million, 2.8 million were killed. And you see on the right side that left only 15% survived the war. So 85% of the Jews that lived in Poland were killed. Then in the parts of the Soviet Union that were occupied by Germany, 2.1 million Jewish population, 1.5 million were killed, and then only 29% surviving. Hungary and Romania both fared a little bit better, and they each had about roughly half their Jewish population killed during the war. Hungary with a little over 400,000 Jews at the start of the war and 200,000 killed, and then Romania 850,000 with 425,000 killed. And then in Germany and Austria, 270,000 lived there at the start, and 210,000 were killed, leaving only 22% surviving.